everybody, and welcome to Guys on Gaffr. My name is Joel, and Abhishek and David are both with me today to review Game Week 19. Yeah, Game Week 19 already. That's a lot of game weeks. How are you both doing?
Doing all right. I mean, it's doing watching football and doing some shopping as well because the big festival is here, right, just around the corner. I think 2-3 weeks to go. So a bit of shopping done. Watching some games, football, cricket, whatever you may say. Disappointed with the loss at the World Cup. That's why we
Yeah.
didn't record for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the only
Because
reason we didn't record, because you were still sad about the loss, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I was mourning for the loss, but I've come round about it. No point, because now it's time to move forward. Uh, did watch the Euro Cup 20, group, the Euros group draw. A nice group.
Wasn't that like a
Hopefully,
super carnage thing? Like because one played some sounds or something?
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
move swiftly on from that, though.
Not good. Not good. Oh.
okay. So yeah, doing all right. Weather-wise, bit under the weather was in the past few days, but now it's all good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's lots of snow here, which is unusual. And my like trip to work is always including like a super steep hill, and the problem now is like it's ice under the snow that I can't see, so it's like an adventure every day. But apart from that, it's all good.
Nice. Right. So let's have a look at how we did this game week then. It was an eventful one. Two of us played boosts with mixed success, as you'll see. David, though, you didn't play a boost this week, and your team is up first. So we'll get the non-booster out the way first. Talk us through it.
Was that like an obvious thing to play a boost this week?
No, not particularly. I don't think, but it just felt right for some people. I feel like there's no real correct strategy in this set, I would say.
Yeah, because if I had played like a midfield boost, I would have got lots of points because I have Summerville, Dewsbury, Hall, and Clark. But like, got 80 points, and I didn't captain anything on Dewsbury Hall, so lost some points there. But yeah, I think it was an average week. I can't even read things into the game week ranks anymore because I don't know how many people are playing still. But like, I think I got at some point I was on like an 8k gaming rank before it updated, so like 2.9 is probably okay. But yeah, I've gone down a bit this week probably because of people playing boosts, but actually a lot, 150 to 213. Wow.
Oh wow, yeah. For 80 points, that's a big drop.
Yeah, like I thought it was an okay week, but like it must have been those like 15 points I didn't get from Dewsbury Hall captain, I guess. But yeah, I also played for the leader last week, which went okay. But I think I got the same score as people. You didn't play boosts and you got more than me, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going okay, I guess. But could have gone better. Yeah.
Cool. Abhishek, you played midfield dynamos this week.
Yeah, and I think it was with so much talk about when to play budget buster and when to play cheaper keepers. I thought first I did not want because in my team, as you can see, I don't have too many budget buster players for starters, and I have to plan budget buster really well because there are not a lot of options. So thought midfield dynamos, let's go different a bit because a lot of the talk is going towards budget buster and cheaper keepers because of the fixtures this weekend. So thought midfield dynamos was optimal, and or with the players that I had, I thought, and the fixture that they're playing, I thought, yeah, why not? Let's have a crack at it. And uh, really went well. Could have been much more well. Could have gone brilliantly well. Had Philogene-Bidace scored that penalty, but he fluffed his line. And but apart from that, I think I can say out of the five midfield players, three spot on with their points. Sarah got the usual performance bonus, which it helps. I kind of expected Sarah's points like that because Norwich, without Sargent and Barnes slowly returning and Roar slowly returning to fitness, uh, they aren't going to score a bunch of lot of goals. But whatever they should score those goals, probably Sarah would have had been an assister of those goals. So 8 points from him could have been better because he only scored 4 points. Smodix, Clark, Somerville got the bunch of the points. Philogene got only four, but 2 points. So really disappointed with Philogene after the form he is in right now. It really bizarre to see him miss a penalty. The easiest one to score a goal, he missed his line. But yeah, apart from that, Armstrong got me 16, Rata got me 5, Walker Peters got me 8, Leaf Davies, they were reliable, got me 10 points, and Mumba got me 2 points, and Johansson of Rotherham, he's getting nice save points of late. So he got me 7 points as well. So yeah, 118 minus 4, 114. Quite happy. Gave me a rank. I think I moved around 150 places from where I was.
Nice.
So add to that with the disappointment of all those budget buster managers, it really helped midfield and it really helped me to crop up the rankings. So, and we will know
Touche.
much about the budget. We'll know much about the budget buster disappointment from Joe. So, Joe, Mike is on you
Spoilers.
now.
No, people have probably seen it on Twitter by now, so it's fine.
Oh, no.
Right.
It's like a
Let the
layup for you,
rank
Joel.
in.
On that
Take it
note,
away.
are we ready? Are we ready for this
Yes.
disaster?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been making really good progress, you know. As David alluded to earlier, I scored 117 points last game week, no boost, and I was up to 53rd, feeling really positive actually about my Gaffr season. Like, good progress is being made. A couple of seasons outside the top 100. Let's do well this time, and let's push forwards. And then I played Budget Buster this week, and Saturday proceeded to be probably my worst Gaffr day, maybe ever. And as you can see, my score is 94 minus 12, which is only 2 points more than David scored net. And I got a 34 place red arrow from 53rd to 87th. So I have chucked away a boost. Now, do I regret this? No, I don't. I knew the risks going into it. Budget Buster is obviously a very high variance boost in that, you know, if you play midfield dynamos instead, which was the other option, you're not going to lose ground playing midfield dynamos. But the ceiling is a lot lower. Whereas for Budget Buster, I felt the ceiling is really high, and if you get lucky, you can go through the roof. But a series of unfortunate events happened. So who did I sell? I sold Dewsbury Hall. I was not pleased with West Brom's defending in the 94th minute, where he got his assist. I thought it was a good week to get rid of him and then bring him straight back, because I thought West Brom have been quite good defensively recently, which they have been. I sold all three of my strikers. No, I didn't. I kept Broadhead, sorry. I sold Rutter and Pirot for Chaplin and Whittaker. I sold... so I brought in Miyoshi for... That was who I brought in for Dewsbury Hall. And I brought in Key and Sanderson in for Hume and Leif Davis. And yeah, a whole series of unfortunate things happened. So Kakai got benched, and then QPR went on to keep a clean sheet. Big swing there. Key got benched. The other person I was probably going to get instead was Iwu of Birmingham, and he would have got me 15 points because of the clean sheet. But instead I got 2 for Key. The reason I brought him in was because I thought he'd be quite good for performance bonus, as we saw earlier in the season. A couple of other minor annoyances were like Huggins' first half clean sheet wipeout with only a couple of minutes left of the first half, and a Hladky very, very late second half clean sheet wipeout against Coventry, considering half clean sheets are worth 5 points when you're on Budget Buster. But the real kicker was Philogene missing his penalty. I had final score on at the same, and I was thinking, okay, this is a chance for it to be okay. It'll be okay if he scores this, and then he misses the penalty, and the swing is absolutely huge. Like, going from instead +3 plus some bonus to instead getting -2 for the penalty miss. It's like 15-20 points.
Because he gets minus now, yeah. That's the
Yeah,
thing as well.
exactly. It's like a 15-20 point swing just from him missing the penalty. So
Yikes.
yeah, I also considered Hurst, but I don't think I was ever going to go for him over Chaplin. So I'm not going to claim to have been unlucky there, I don't think. But it was a bit annoying that he was the one that scored it instead of Chaplin. So yeah, the only real successes in the team were Broadhead, but I already owned him, and Sanderson, who kept a clean sheet, and the rest not great. So yeah, it was a tough one to take, and my bench is full of points: Smodix, Clark, and Walker-Peters. But you know, it comes with the territory with Budget Buster, and I'm seeing people talking about still playing 8-9 budget players, and I just hope the same happens to you in Game Week 22, everyone. What hurt me more than I think my budget players blanking was all all the popular picks returning. I was just hoping, you know, maybe half the popular picks would return and I would do okay and it wouldn't be too high scoring a week. You know, all it takes, even if you're taking a hit for a budget player, all it takes is for that budget player to return once and you've paid back the hit and you're beating what the player you sold would have got unless they've got like 15 points. So, you know, I felt, you know, if I could have hit a haul, like if Whittaker had managed to get a brace or something, or if someone had managed to get, you know, a 15-pointer in my team, I'd have been looking really nice. But it wasn't to be. And therefore, yeah, I think the goal now is just to kind of stay in the top 100 up until Game Week 30, because now I've played 2 boosts. I feel like most of the top 100 will have played 1 by now, but I will be behind most of them because they will have still not played 1 or 2 2 or maybe 3 boosts. So yeah, if I can kind of get to Game Week 30 and I'm still in the top 100, I'll be pretty happy. And yeah, happy enough with my team moving forward as well. So hopefully it won't be too bad in the long term. Yeah, that's my budget buster. Let's move on from that. All right, so I've got a few things to talk about. We'll start with Southampton, I think, because they're on a really good run of form at the moment, closing in on that top 2 after a run of really good results. I think it's like 9 or 10 unbeaten at the moment. We'll remember earlier on in the season defensively they were shocking. They seem to have fixed that quite well. Kyle Walker-Peters is now a very template option for us. But also let's talk about Adam Armstrong, I think, because for a while earlier on in the season, you know, we were debating him a lot in terms of whether he was a good option when he was dropping deep into midfield, but it looks like he's playing up top a lot more now, even with Adams in the side. Adams played at the weekend against Cardiff, but Armstrong was still playing up front, and actually I watched the extended highlights, and he could have had like 4 attacking returns. He obviously got the brace, had an assist ruled out for offside, almost got a couple of other assists, had a couple of other chances as well. Like, he was so heavily involved in everything Southampton were doing. Those of us who don't have him and haven't had him for a while, maybe looking to move on to someone like Pirot, should we be prioritising getting him in at the moment, or do you think he's not necessarily a priority or a must-have right now?
Like, the way you're describing him, like, reminds me of Tony some years ago. Like, just involved in everything all of a sudden. And hearing that, I don't want to miss out anymore, because I sold him 2 weeks ago for Vardy, which worked out. Yeah. And he got some bonus points for my follow the leader, but no. So I have 3 transfers now. So yeah, he's going, and I'm probably getting Armstrong because I can not have him. It's yeah, feels like missing out on a very good option.
Abhishek, you have him. Do you think we should be getting him in?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think it's high time the owners of Piro should move on should downgrade him to Rutter, I say downgrade just because he's a million less, or if you own Rutter, should move on to Adam Armstrong, because he is the guy that is scoring all the goals, and getting all the points from whenever Southampton plays. Even if he assists, even if he blanks, he gets all the performance bonuses as well as I think for the past. I think game week this is 19, right? So 17, 16,
Yeah.
he got performance bonus only, but that also got me 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points from him.
Oh.
So that was nice. Without scoring any goals, he's getting me 7 to 8 points every week. that's a kind of player that I really want to have in my team. With whatever money that is on him right now, I would like to spend on him, because he's getting me those points. Even if I don't captain him or vice captain him, imagine if I vice captain or captain him, then that would have been a nice bunch of points. But yeah, I think Kyle Walker-Peters and Southampton being defensively sound now for the past, I think, 1 month or 1.5 months. I think Adam Armstrong, Kyle Walker-Peters are your number 1 and 2 picks. If you don't own them, if you own them, don't sell them. Even if you're playing any boost or something like that, do not sell him, because they are the form team right now, and with Leicester and others dropping points, it looks like they are going to be in the mix for the playoffs.
So does it look like the performance points is like matching up to the eye test, because you said he played very well?
Yeah.
I
I
think so.
mean, everyone was saying at the start of the season that he was playing deeper and he might not be that much involved if the likes of Che Adams and others play in front of him. But that is clearly not the case now. Whether he's coming down to receive the ball, and he's getting those assists. So that uh, theory that he will not be scoring that much of points as a center forward, or whether he plays as number 10 or whether he plays as a center forward, that doesn't that theory has gone out of the window now, because everything goes through him, everything. So he is the number one guy when Russell Martin picks his squad nowadays, starting 11 nowadays. So you have to have him, uh, at least because he's a captaincy option in every week with the performance he's putting up for the past 1 month, before the international break and after the international break. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he is a definite buy now.
I was just having a little look at some of the comparisons between Pirot and Armstrong in terms of underlying numbers and XG and stuff. They're kind of similar at the moment, but I still think Armstrong's probably a slightly better option for a couple of reasons. Firstly, minutes. Pirot is obviously more likely to get subbed off early with the attacking options Leeds have. Performance bonus also. I think Armstrong. I'd have to check if the data backs this up, but my hunch is that Armstrong is probably better for bonus than Pirot, just because Leeds have players like Somerville and others that really do mop up the bonus, and probably take that away from Pirot. Even though Pirot is all right for things like key passes, whereas for Southampton, I think Armstrong's probably a bit better for a little bit more standout in terms of bonus. And obviously they're both on pens, and Leeds just share around the goals a lot. In terms of like goal involvement, Pirot is not involved in as many goals as Armstrong is. Pirot's still
Yeah,
fine. Like, if you've got other fires, I think you're okay to hold Pirot, but I do just think Armstrong is slightly better at the minute.
yeah. I mean, the problem was whatever that were worried, because when Armstrong came down at number 10 and Che Adams starting up top ahead of him, the similar situation happened with Rutter and Pirro. But Armstrong has adapted to it and enhanced his game, whereas Pirro has too many talented players alongside him. As a result of that, he doesn't get the share of the attacking numbers that the likes of Somerville, even Dan James is getting far more better returns
Yes,
than
well.
Pirro nowadays. So that's the issue with Leeds right now. They have too many attacking talents. So Pirro is not able to do what he was doing at Swansea. Whereas in terms of Southampton, everything goes through Armstrong, because Che Adams and the other forwards get rotated quite a lot. They don't have the likes of Somerville, the quality of Somerville, or they have the players, the likes of Alcaraz, Sulemana, are there, are good players. Uh, who is the other guy? Edoze,
Yeah,
who's the other
it's hard to
Southern?
pick
Yeah,
that third player. I think there's a bit too much
yeah,
rotation in those midfield spots, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't
I
like go
mean,
for a midfielder for them because they are like too spread around, and you have two better options? Is it like because they are
They
playing
don't
so well, you just want to have three, but you necessarily shouldn't?
I think two's fine. I don't think the midfielders come close to the already, the template picks that are in the game already in terms of numbers. So I don't think
yeah.
you'd want to go
I
there.
mean,
How about
if you
second defender?
Manning and Bree seem to be rotating at the moment, so that's a no-go. So then you're left with a central defender who's a bit pricey. So I don't think so, unless you have the money.
But you're going for like isn't Ampadu also a central defender in Leeds?
Yeah,
But he
So
plays
you're like going
in
for
the
those
midfield.
options, but yeah.
I mean, he's a defender
does,
in the game, but he plays in the midfield. So
But
there's
does that
an
help him
opportunity
his
for.
like stats and bonus?
I don't
do you
think so because he's not involved. He's a
Yeah,
defensive
yeah.
midfielder.
I think
so
we
he
talked
doesn't
about
Yeah.
this
get tackles.
earlier. Like it's not necessarily helping him as a fancy asset. Maybe it's like
No, I think the main thing is that in case of Ampadu, he can get those performance bonus
the
if he
passing.
hits those numbers. Whereas
Yeah.
if you go for likes of Hayward Bayliss or Bedrenak, they will not hit those performance bonuses. That's the only caveat that you have for Leeds and Southampton.
Yeah, because
I
you
mean,
don't get. Do you get performance bonus for like keeping clean sheets, or is it just from actions?
Defensive.
no.
Full clean sheet. Yeah, I think you do for full clean sheet.
But it's not
Like,
like that
Better.
much.
It's like +1.
No, I mean, if he has defensive actions, then he is more inclined to get the performance bonus
Yeah.
than a
Yeah.
clean sheet. So,
Yeah.
it's really tricky to decide. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters is an easy option because he bombs forward, he attacks, he can score goals, provide assists. That's why Kyle Walker. So, if you want to have a defender like that, wing backs are the optimal options. Central defenders do not get those many points unless one comes up. I mean, last season I think McGuinness or the Cardiff, another Cardiff one that we were having. That I mean, they were scoring headed goals. Unless those things happen, central defenders don't get too many points in Gaffr. Whereas wingbacks are the optimal options here. So, and also I think if you compare both the two sides, Leeds and Southampton, Leeds have the points. They have a much more attacking. They have more advanced attacking talent as compared to Southampton as of right now. Currently, after 19 games, so you can pick a lot of players from Leeds, whereas for Southampton, that thing comes down to only those two players that we talked about. I mean, Adam Armstrong and Kyle Walker-Peters.
Just to round off this discussion then on Adam Armstrong, obviously I know quite a lot of people are looking at Budget Buster 22, and so therefore getting Armstrong in wouldn't be a priority. And I guess one of the I guess counters to get him in now is they've got 3 away games in the next 4. Their next one's Watford, which isn't easy. But once you hit after 22. Their run is really nice. It's QPR away, Swansea home, Plymouth home, Norwich away, Sheffield Wednesday at home. I see a lot of goals for Southampton in that run from game week 23 through game week 27. And actually, that could be a really good time to get him in, particularly if you want to do the switch from Pirro, for example. The fixtures that Leeds have from game week 23 are Ipswich at home, then 3 away games in 4, including West Brom, who are obviously a tough nut to crack at the moment. So I think if you look at the fixtures between the two, game week 23 to game week 27, Armstrong is well clear of Pirro in that spell. So, maybe he's not an imminent buy, but, when we get to that period, maybe he is. Obviously, rotation could be an issue around then with Christmas, but when it will be for every single player in the game. So, yeah. Any final words on Southampton, or should we move on to another topic?
Let's move on.
Cool. Before we go on to like budget buster and boost plans, I guess maybe a couple of other teams to talk about. So like West Brom are doing quite well at the moment, up to 5th. But from a Gaffr point of view, it's really tricky with them. Like, do you think we should be looking at any West Brom assets at the moment? I mean, Furlong's in a lot of teams. But aside from that, I'm struggling with their attack at the moment.
And Wallace is injured, right?
Yeah, Wallace is injured. I mean, Wallace is injured. Swift just came back. I think Matt Phillips is becoming quite a decent option from West Brom if you are not going to spend that much money on the likes of Swift or Wallace when he gets fit. Then Matt Phillips can be on it. Diangana is also another decent option.
I saw some people like regretting not getting him from some weeks ago when they got some points. They were like debating him, but like looking at other options since like he did well. So
yeah, Yeah, I mean the problem is that they don't. If Asante Samuel doesn't play, then Swift plays up top, and that becomes a much more interesting option from West Brom, because he will score you those goals. He with Wallace now injured, he gets the all the free kicks and all those things. So he can be an option, but he's 10 million, so that's an issue right now, because majority of our squads already have high price players, or some quite a lot of money invested on the likes of Rutter, on the likes of Somerville, on the likes of KDH, Sarah, Clark. So you have to break the template to get him in right now.
Breaking that
I
template
mean,
midfield is tough at the moment, isn't it? Because they're all so
yeah,
good. There's
it's
like
really,
picking from like 7 or 8 midfielders who are all just so far clear of everyone else.
yeah. I mean, it's got really tough. And if West Brom do sign somebody in January, or DK gets back to full fitness, then we can do a bit of chop and changing and get a West Brom player in terms of attacking talent. But apart from that, I think defense is the only option right now for us to invest, I think.
I think I'm in agreement. I just saw that Phillips was benched in midweek and only played 45 minutes on Saturday. I don't know if he started or went off at half time or came on at half time, which way around it was, but his minutes seem to have dropped. So he looks like a non-option at the minute. I think I'm in agreement. It's defence only. Furlong probably in terms of his attacking potential, but only 16 points behind is Kipre at 5.5. So if money's an issue, I don't think Kipre is a bad option. West Brom have only conceded 19 goals this season. That's the second best in the league after Leicester, who've only conceded 12, and yet I haven't owned a Leicester defender once. What am I playing at? So, that's an average of a goal a game. So yeah, West Brom defensively could be a good option in terms of those half clean sheets. It's just bonus is a trickier thing, I guess. David, have you got any opinions on West Brom?
Yeah, I don't really know, but it's I think you've covered most of it. It's like it could be good, but it's not really easy to know. But they have some. It's like the team has no, like, for example, at Southampton you have two players that are above 100 points, but in this team it's like everyone is like around 80 to 90 points. So it's like if you just look at that, you just have to look very much into stats and things, I think, for West Brom compared to like Southampton, because it's like more clear cut, but here's like a bit more nuanced. So yeah, I think that's it.
And I think if you look at the fixtures also, they have a mixed bag of fixtures till the month of January, I guess. So some they have a decent run. So if you want, I mean, basically, if you want to be a bit of a punt, if you want to take a bit of punt, then I think you can go for those players. Apart from Forlong, I think if you want to have a punt, because they face Rotherham in 2 weeks, so that is a nice option to take a punt. They face Stoke as well, and so these two games can be a decent option because a lot of teams face each other. So it will be a tough game. So yeah, I think if you really want to have a punt, then I think yeah, these are the attack options. The midfielders that we talk about from West Brom can be an option, but apart from that, I don't think. But it's for long or no one as of right now. And the fixtures also doesn't back them too much. But West Brom has been punching above their weight without any striker so far to this season. So who knows?
Yeah, indeed. Okay, that wraps up West Brom then, I guess. A couple more small things I think that are worth talking about. First is Hull, and particularly Philogene-Bidace, because since we last recorded, he's gone from being in no one's team to being a very popular option. I don't really want to spend too long on this, but I'm just going to call out some stats. This is from his last 4 games, okay? Just to illustrate, if you haven't clocked onto this yet, just how crazy his numbers are. So, admittedly, these 4 fixtures were quite good: Huddersfield, Swansea, Rotherham and Watford. But in the Watford game, obviously missed a pen, but he had 2 key passes, 4 shots on target and 4 successful dribbles. In terms of bonus, that's great numbers. Against Rotherham, he obviously scored a brace and only played an hour, but he had 3 shots on target, 2 key passes. And then against Swansea, he had 5 key passes, 3 shots on target, and 2 successful dribbles. And then against Huddersfield, he had 4 key passes, 1 shot on target, and 4 successful dribbles. So that's just over the last 4 games. But obviously it stretches back further than that. His bonus numbers are absolutely incredible. Like, I next time we do the bonus stats thing, he should come out on top looking at these numbers. Like, he is good for all of the attacking actions, not just, obviously Sarah is like a key pass merchant, Juicy Hall's a key pass merchant, but he has shots on target and he has dribbles as well in his arsenal. He is the sort of player I think is going to get 4 bonus like pretty much every game unless he misses penalties. So get him in. If you don't have him, get him in. Admittedly, the fixtures are probably going to get tougher. They've got, while it loads, they've got QPR away, Middlesbrough away, Cardiff at home, Bristol City away, Sunderland at home in the next 5. Not bad. So yeah, get it.
But when did this happen? I can't remember the last time we talked about good midfielders. He wasn't part of the conversation, but now it's just amazing. What's happened?
I don't know what his numbers were like further back. I'm guessing he was just going
Can't
under
remember.
the radar.
I don't think we've talked about him ever before on an episode.
He went under the radar, I think, but basically people have just started noticing him. I would be interested to see what his numbers were like, sort of, in September or whatever. But
I think after the October month international break, when he came back from the under 21s, I think he was on form in both the games for the under 21s, most probably, if I'm not mistaken. Since then, and they have got Scott Twine back to his best, playing at his best, when the Scott Twine that we know from MK Dons on League One, which made him the move, make him the move to Burnley, but he did not play that much well. But Scott Twine and Philogene-Bidace, it really makes easy for Lime Delap's job. Even though Lime Delap is not scoring, these 2 guys are really overshadowing him, and that's why Hull are really flying as well. I mean, they are not. They do. I don't think Tufan is playing either for them, and still they're
That's
winning.
crazy.
Still they're winning, and they're not winning. They're not winning 1-0, 2-0. They're winning handsomely. They're scoring 3 goals, 4 goals without Azan Tufan playing. He hasn't been able to make since the injury he had. So without your best scorer for the first 12 games that were dragging your side in the table, they are now comfortably playing in the playoff spots right now, and they're doing really well. So you have to. I mean, even though I don't mind doubling up on a Hull City asset with Twine as well, to break the template, because both of them are really, really, really looking really lively, really looking good, and Hull are so good to watch in the eye. It's so good to watch in the eye when they play.
yeah, I've just looked back, David, at some of their games early on in the season, sort of October, and his numbers were good, but not this level. So I think he has exploded in the last sort of 7 or 8 games. So yeah, it is a case of we've seen a massive improvement in the numbers, and now he is just an incredible option.
Nice.
You don't have him, do you? Do you have him, David?
No, I prioritized the follow leader thing, so that was I saw people talked about it, but I was more interested in getting a third Leicester option, and so
it's funny
this wasn't a priority.
Everyone cottoned on in the same week as well. It's
and everyone got points apart from me.
I captained him. It was nice. That was when things were going nice and well. Things going well a few days ago. Just captained him for 16 points.
Probably going to get him as part of getting Armstrong back as well.
Yeah.
Right, so let's move on to questions time. And we have some questions that are tying into the one we already want to talk about, so we're just going to go through them. So the first one is from, I think it's Norwegian, Erik Nes Onstad. I can say it in Norwegian, that's cool. I love when that happens. I can just flex my Norwegian, even though it's my first language. Okay, yeah, anyway. Really can't decide between boosts Jeepers Keepers, Follow Leader, and Budget Buster. The latter demands huge surgery, and I'm unsure if the many hits will outscore the other boosts. Jeepers Keepers, I want to save for possible double with Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I think the three boosts are spot on. If you're looking at playing the boosts, follow the leader, save for the big doubles because there will be a lot of doubles after the FA Cup round three gets over. So there will be a lot of doubles and blanks. So save the follow the leader till game week 27, 28. Do not play like that, and it doesn't require too much of a planning to do that. In terms of budget buster, it really depends on the weeks that your budget players have a decent game. So as Joe played this week, he thought as Joel played this week, he thought that he would have those fixtures were really good. He had Ipswich players, he had Plymouth players, he had Birmingham players that were good. Granted that he did not get that many points that he expected, but it was really harsh on him because he did not predicted a missed penalty when he started planning for the budget buster team. He did not expected his players to get benched. So you have to really plan accordingly the players, the budget players that you want to own, whether they are having decent amount of minutes or not. Jeeper keeper is really you can play it in any game week because you just require two decent game goalkeepers for it, and you have a lot of goalkeepers that are doing really well in terms of save points, in terms of clean sheet, getting half clean sheet points, the likes of Johansson, likes of Collins, likes of Dieng. And as you mentioned that you're gonna save Dieng, the Jeeper keeper boost for the Middlesbrough potential Middlesbrough double, which I think we will come to know in the month of January because the League Cup after the League Cup quarterfinal gets done. If they don't qualify, then they will not. If I think the second leg of the League Cup probably has put in the weeks of the game Gaffr game week, so they might miss not the first leg but the second leg.
Keep
I think the
talking, I'll
first leg,
check that.
yeah, I think probably the second leg, most probably. I think I saw it yesterday or the day before that. But yeah, Joe, please check it. And yeah, I think if you one thing I can say that do not use overhaul into a budget buster team. That's a horrible decision because you will need a lot of uh, hits after the budget buster week to get to your actual team. Whereas in terms of if you have, I mean, we always thought that 7 or 8 budget players is enough for your budget buster week. But looking at the kind of form the other teams, the teams that are currently right now in, I think 6 or 7 is enough for your budget buster. So you can take at least two hits whenever you decide to play the week. Whenever in which week you're trying to play the boost, I think 2 hits, 3 hits is enough to have a budget buster team, and that will help you. I mean, that gets fulfilled quite handsomely if you're a budget buster player, at least get a return. So yeah, I think
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
A few.
What's the league ups one?
Yeah, it's there's no clash actually, as it turns out. So it's all
No
good.
clash.
So
So
if Middlesbrough get through to the semi-finals, they won't have any blanks. So it's all good.
mm,
But worth
okay.
checking.
So so I don't think Middlesbrough will have a potential double game week then.
Well, it's the FA Cup,
So
isn't it? It's there's that potential with the
yeah,
FA Cup, which
yeah,
may
that's
cause it.
the but there was a discussion about the League Cup. I think. Hold
It'll be the
on.
final. It'll be the final. I think that's when there would be an issue. But yeah,
Mm,
in terms of
yeah.
my thoughts on that question, I guess the answer is all for me is do all three boosts. At least those are the three I'm playing. But I'm assuming he's played midfield dynamos already, which would be why that's not possible. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're talking about whether the many hits will outscore the other two boosts and stuff. Like as you'll have seen, kind of from my team and other budget busters this week, It's the other boosts can't really they can't give you a negative result in that you score less points and you get a red arrow. Compared to Budget Buster where that's clearly a risk. It really depends on what your risk appetite is, because I still maintain that Budget Buster has the highest ceiling of those boosts, of all of the boosts in this set. The problem is at the moment the template is so good, and the template picks are returning most weeks, and that's making it really difficult. So it depends on whether you want to chase, whether you're happy with your rank and you want to protect. I think Jeepers Keepers and Follow the Leader, you can't go too far wrong with, in terms of also, like, you've got two heavy prep based boosts there that you've not played, whereas I think a lot of people were thinking get Follow the Leader out of the way early and then you've got plenty of time to sort out Budget Buster. If it's going to be really tricky to prepare for both, I would consider just doing Follow the Leader and Jeepers Keepers. I mean, Jeepers Keepers I love, no prep required, and is a really high scoring boost, so I think Jeepers Keepers is one to play, because of that reason of surgery. So if you decide to go against Budget Buster, I think it's very low. It's extremely low risk strategy and should still do quite well. Budget Buster is if you really want to go for a big green arrow, but you're risking that red arrow that I got this week.
Yeah, it's a big risk, big reward play, I guess. And you got the bad end of it this week, but like you can go very well. Okay. So
it's the only boost that provides us with the highest number of times points. It gets us to 2.5 times that we are going to get for every budget player. So yeah, it's a high risk, high reward kind of boost, and you have to have. Even if in Joel's case, if Philogene-Bidace did not had missed that penalty, that was as Joel mentioned, it's a 15-20 points difference. He would have gotten that many amount of points, and it would have been probably a grey arrow. Whereas instead of a red arrow,
if I'd have picked Iwo instead and got another 13 points instead of Key, it just required 2 or 3 more things to go right, and it would have been at least a green arrow, if not a good green arrow. So the margins are really thin. Like, it doesn't take much for that Budget Buster to do really well. You just need one player to haul.
But it's like also if you don't want to take lots of hits like in 1 week that like you did, it's like more of a multiple game week boost actually, because it impacts both before and after if you don't use a boost for it. So and you have to have players that are cheaper and not as explosive as the ones that you could have in those weeks before and after. So you have to look at that, and also the fixtures before and after the Budget Buster week, if it's actually worth it compared to the other boosts. Like, for example, if you want to have 5 midfielders instead.
I actually barely did any transfers that were with Budget Buster in mind before the week. The only one really was bringing in Philogene for Sarah, but he was in my mind. He's in my mind probably a better asset than Sarah anyway now, so I wasn't making my team worse. I may have brought in a defender. I might have brought in Huggins at one point with Budget Buster in mind, just kind of down the road, making sure I kept underneath the threshold. But like, I guess that's the thing. If you do it over time, you're taking out good assets for multiple game weeks, but you're taking fewer hits in the week itself. I think you're probably better off taking a -8 in the week itself, because you're not spending as long without the assets. I mean, just for context, actually, I was initially just thinking 3 transfers -4 and do it with like 8 players, and then I took the 2 extra hits, thinking I'm going to roll the dice on 2 more hits, and ultimately those players I brought in didn't really do what I wanted them to. But like, there is that option of just doing it on 7 or 8.
But did you make up your hits you take?
Not with Whittaker. Whittaker was my last one. I did Rutter to Whittaker. Whittaker scored 5. Rutter scored, I think, 7. He won maybe just 5 actually. I think just 5, because he won a pen and didn't have any bonus. So I basically just lost the 4 points. So that's the case in point, right? If Whittaker had got 1 return, I'm quids in there. But it wasn't to be. So yeah. So yeah, it's up to you kind of how much you want to risk it, and also kind of what your team would look like afterwards.
Very nice.
Next one.
Yes. From FPL Calypso. Hi guys, wondering what points I should be looking for extra from the boosts. For example, I played Follow the Leader in midweek and got around 50 points above average. Is this decent? Thanks.
50 points above the average is incredible, man. That's incredible.
Is this like a hidden flex or whatever it's called? Subtle flex?
Humble brag.
Humble brag, yeah.
Is this any good?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that
it's
is
very
very
good. Nice one.
Follow the leader is one you want to be hitting like at least 30 points above the average, I think, because it's one of the better boosts. But it depends on the boosts. Some boosts obviously more high scoring than others. But yeah, that's a great score. I think for cheapest keepers, you're probably looking at 20 to 25 above the average, maybe. Budget Buster, huge variation, as you saw. So it's hard to pin a number down on it, but obviously you want to make a gain from the boost. Midfield Dynamos, you only got 3.5 extra players. I think 15 to 20. 15's like average, 20's good. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We can take the next question maybe. From Angus, 81, our chief team news guy. Thank you for your work. If you were playing Follow the Leader, including Leicester and Southampton, who would your ideal triple ups from those teams be? That's our question. At least for Southampton. But yeah. Ideal. I did play it on Leicester, and I had Mavididi, Vardy, and Dewsbury Hall. So I don't think I had the ideal one, but I wanted to like to roll the dice on Vardy just in case he like got something against his old club or like started the game, which he did. But yeah, I think I saw most people I saw actually had a defensive develop, so that's probably the more like wise play to go for. But I wanted to have attackers against the weak side, so that was what I did.
Yeah, obviously don't know what week he's playing for the leader and what that fixture would be. That would maybe determine it. If it was a really good, strong defensive fixture, then probably 2 defenders is good. But also, I think obviously Dewsbury Hall's a shoe in. Probably Dewsbury Hall, Pereira, and then one of like Vestergaard, Justin, and Mavididi. I think Mavididi, the upside is probably a bit higher with him. So if you want to attack it, and it obviously depends on what other transfers you're trying to make for that Follow the Leader in terms of team structure. Like might make more sense to have double defense because you want attacking options from the other teams you're following the leader on, and vice versa. But I think if I was to do it, I'd just taking that out of consideration, I'd probably choose Mavididi and Pereira alongside Dewsbury Hall just because the whole potential.
I mean, the two teams that he has asked, these are the two teams that only has, as of right now, 2 players that are definitely showing, both from both these sides. I mean, from Leicester, Ricardo and Dewsbury Hall, and from Southampton, Walker Peters and Adam Armstrong. Is the third one that has to be quite tricky. I mean, I can bring an argument that both of these teams' goalkeepers can be an option. If you are looking at Hermeson or Bazunu, they are keeping the clean sheets as well, even though they are not getting those save points because the defensive players are doing the bulk of the job and they don't have to save those shots. But when they are required to, they are capable enough to get the shot saved. Maybe Hermeson is doing a lot more save points, getting a lot more save points in terms as compared to Bazunu. But they can be another option if we are really not, because the other from the other positions, there really not much option to choose from. Maybe Leicester Mavididi is another option that you can choose maybe Justin from defense, but he got benched, I guess, in the midweek as well. So he is also so you have to contend with the rotation as well, even though you are playing follow the leader, or even if you're playing whatever boost you have to contend with rotation nowadays, especially with these busy festive fixtures. So that third one is really tricky, but to be on the safe side, at least from one of those teams, you may look at the goalkeeper. You may look at goalkeeper also.
Yeah.
They can also be an FTL option if you don't find any other options in other positions. Especially Bazuni from Southampton can be a different option, because from Leicester you get Justin, you get Mavididi, but from Southampton you really don't have any other players. Because as Joel mentioned previously in the show, Brian Manning is quite rotatable now. Um, Edozie, don't know what his minutes are
Not
like.
good.
Alcaraz is also on the similar along line.
Stuart
Sulemana,
Armstrong is a maybe for me. I mean, I think he's uninspiring, but he has got the odd assist. And his minutes have looked reasonable recently. So I think if I was to choose a midfielder,
yeah,
I'd choose Stuart Armstrong. But I think that third option is going to be underwhelming, if whether it be a defender, Bazunu, or someone like Armstrong.
yeah,
Stuart Armstrong.
yeah. So that will be a really hard. I think if you have other teams on an FTL that has decent amount of fixtures, then I think you may have to go for them if you're not going for Southampton or Leicester.
Does it make a difference that Alcaraz played up top this week, or is it the same danger?
Did he play up top this week?
At least that's what my app says, but it says that he played in front of Adams and Armstrong. But the games before he played on the wing, so I'm not sure.
I'm not sure I believe your app, David, because if with Adams and Armstrong in the team, it would surprise me if Alcaraz was going to play there. Yeah, I'm just looking at his heat map. Yeah, he definitely didn't play up top. He played.
Alcaraz did play up top, but don't.
He
I
didn't
mean,
play up top.
that's no, yeah. In the game, he did not play, but from the, I mean, in the sofa score or whatever app you look at
Why
the
did they do
lineup,
this?
they're saying Alcaraz up top, but he did
Confusing me.
not play up top. Yeah, he did not play
Look
up
stupid.
The heat maps are more reliable than the apps.
Yeah.
Look at those.
All the lineup sites are showing Carlos Alcaraz up top, but
That's
he's
weird.
not. Yeah, that is weird. That is really weird.
You heard it here first. He's not playing up top.
That real ground-breaking piece of info right there.
Yeah.
Top journalism.
Yeah. So.
Oh dear.
Let's move on.
So yeah, I
This
think Angus get the gist. Two options from both sides are pretty much nailed. The third option will
We
be an
will answer his question.
underwhelming. Yeah, I think
In a
we
way.
did give him some options,
Yeah.
and now the choice is on himself.
Like he doesn't know
Big
about him
move.
already, but yeah, thanks for asking in a way.
Yeah,
He's probably like,
Yeah,
I know what the
sure.
answer is, but I want to know what you think.
yeah.
Confirmation bias
No,
from
look,
the unofficial podcast.
I think the only thing that he can get out of that is that goalkeepers can be an option because that's your.
That's a good advice.
It also doesn't help that we don't know what his team is and what week he's playing it in. So it
but
depends on that, doesn't it?
yeah.
But my like view of his like selections is like he's like always in front of the curve, like bringing in players that I wouldn't consider at least. So maybe he's like a goalkeeper guy.
He's not having a great season though. Sorry,
Yeah,
Angus,
maybe.
if you're listening, but I believe he's not having a great season this year.
So his gambles aren't working at the moment. So.
Yeah, and he's had like Isaiah Jones and stuff, for example, which is
the gamble that the gambles did pay off last season pretty well for him. This season he has had a couple of those gambles. I've seen his before the start of the season. I've seen his teams, but yeah, it didn't. It's not working. I think Dan is having a decent amount of season. But I think in the past few weeks, he has also dropped a few points here and there.
Anyway,
let's move on.
His question from Rambo Muna, which has he has also put screenshot of his team, so I can just read the question and team afterwards. Looking to play Jeepers Keepers with Johansson and O'Leary in future game week, would it be perfect? Second base. Okay, yeah, it's 2 questions, so we can answer the first one. Johansson and O'Leary. Is that a good combo?
Yeah, I think yes. Yeah, it's a good combo.
Let me get up the save stats while. Yeah.
He doesn't have either Latke or Dieng, which I haven't seen much.
Yeah, I mean, his the only caveat is that the goalkeeper duo that he has is not primed for clean sheet points. So that's the only caveat he has.
But in Jeepers
I mean,
Keepers,
assured clean sheet.
that's not what you're after, is it? You're after saves.
Yeah,
Yeah, saves, but
I think I think he's
depends.
in a good position because he has a unique duo that like could do well for saves any week, really, and he doesn't have to do anything to get them.
Johansson, I'm confident on saves. O'Leary, I am not confident on saves.
Let's see what Joel says.
I can tell you the stats. I've just got them up. So yeah, Johansson's top on 75 saves. O'Leary is 6th on 54, but he's in like a group of about five or six keepers that've got like between 50 and 56 saves. So he's in like that kind of upper middle chunk. If you wanted the probably even better ones for saves than him, there's Rushworth on 67 at Swansea and Ruddy on 63 at Birmingham. Is he asking what game week would be a good game week to play it, or
No, I think he's asking. It's
in a
decent
future game week.
for the keeper.
I think he looks like he's happy with those two, and he just like wants to ask what we think. But yeah, I think it's a good combo.
If he picks a game week where Bristol have a particularly tough fixture, then that's fine. Like that's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Cool. Second question: based on the team, which game week would be perfect to play why does he bench boost? My FPL is like ingrained into my brain. Budget buster. Whom should I plan to buy and sell based on that? So I can just read out the team: Johansson, Perenji, Barbosa, Ricardo, Davis, Somerville, Philogene, Smodix, Dewsbury Hall, Clark, Rutter, Armstrong, and the bench is like cut off. So I would assume it's Mumba, probably Stoke defender, and
Broadhead or
Blue
Chaplin.
Kid. So
His bench is not Chaplin. Not his bench is Broadhead, Huggins, and Scar.
Okay.
So he has 3 budget buster players already on the bench.
So he's on 5 at the moment, then including a keeper and then 4 outfield.
Smodix isn't.
Smodix isn't. So it's 6.8. O'Leary is a budget buster keeper, so he has 4 bench players that are budget buster. Philogene-Bidace so far is a budget buster player. I don't know by the time he will be a budget buster player by the time he plays it.
That's actually a good point. Like you have to like keep in mind that if you want to play budget buster on Philogene, you probably have to do it soon because he can go above the threshold.
He's 6'3".
Oh, that could be like in a week or 2 time, actually.
Yeah, if he scored a couple of goals in 1 game or 2 games, he's going above the threshold. So
yeah,
it's a risk with Philogene-Bidace, but as of now, fingers crossed. Whether he comes game week 22, looking at game 2023 is the optimal week to play a budget buster. If you set up your team or if you adapt your plans according to it, because Plymouth has a nice game, Ipswich has a nice game in 22, Plymouth has a nice game, I guess, in 22 as well, or 23, and maybe hold on. Ipswich is a nice game in 22. If you're playing a budget buster, no, he has Norwich, and Plymouth has Rotherham in 22. So 22 it looks to be the prime week to play a budget buster, where a lot of budget buster players are there, likes of Chaplin, Burns, Whittaker, Azaz. Hardy is also becoming fit, so he can be another decent budget buster option. If you're not going to go with the double switch forward, the double Plymouth forward can be an option as well. So yeah, 22 looking at it. So I think you get 2 to 3 transfers. Two transfers, I guess. 3 free transfers, and whatever he transfers, you are looking to get. So you already have 5 or 4 if you don't include Philogene-Bidace.
You can bench 4 as well. So
so you're just gonna need 4 to 5 players. That gives you 9 players. I think your team is pretty much set up. for Game Week
He also
22
asked
budget
like
buster.
he also asked who. So
Yeah, it's
who should he buy?
probably that triple Plymouth, triple Ipswich, and then a couple of others sprinkled in, right?
Mhm.
Would make a lot of sense. In
Maybe
terms of who to
Huddersfield.
sell,
Rookie.
like Ng and Davis, I think are very sellable. Leaf Davis, just because Ipswich are about to go into a really tough run of fixtures. So those can go.
Clark can go.
The attackers, it's difficult. Like, you're going to have to take a risk in selling your attackers. All of your front eight, or even like the seven that we can see on the pitch there, they're all fantastic assets. They could
Yeah, I
return,
think-
and they literally all returned this week, apart from Philogene.
Yeah,
Which I'm
I
not
think
salty about
Clark
whatsoever.
and Rutter can be rotated for the budget buster cheap and then bring back next week. But the likes of you can't sell Somerville, you can't sell Armstrong. That's a sure. You can sell Smodix
Yeah.
because Blackburn's pictures are mixed bag.
They've got
So,
Southampton in
these
game
are
week
the-
22, so away. So I
Yeah.
think he's sellable briefly for that
Yeah,
week and then bring him back.
So these are the options you can sell, and for the other guys that you are gonna be in for the budget players that you can bring. So yeah, give me 22.
Do we
Clear
like?
mark.
Yeah, do we know if there's like a cap on how much a player can rise in the week in Gaffr?
I thought it was just 0.1, although I might be wrong. Maybe you can go at 0.2 in a very exceptional case. I can't remember.
Because it's like if it's just one, it can be still happen in 3 weeks. But it isn't like guaranteed because it's the week you play it. It can still be. Doesn't have to be before the deadline.
No, I mean,
Yeah, you'll
One
know
thing I
before the
think-
game week. You'll know before the game week.
Yeah.
that's one thing. And I think if you have a lot of, if you have scored a goal, assisted, and a lot of performance bonus also is accumulated, I think that player is much more inclined to get a price rise than say a player who just scored a goal and nothing as a performance bonus or just gets an assist.
Yeah,
Nothing as
and
a
that's a
performance
good
bonus.
point actually, because if people don't know, it's not like based on how many people buy, like in many games, it's performance based, right?
Yeah, no.
So
no. Depends.
that's like a good indicator if you're like worried about it has it scored or assist this week.
Yeah, I mean,
Also
people can
for
take
players
the
that are like just below that you're planning to buy in as well. If they are on the threshold the week before, maybe like be a bit
Yeah.
cautious.
I mean, people can take the example of Sarah. He's the master of getting these performance bonuses, even though Norwich loses or he doesn't return. He hasn't gone down or gone up that much in price, even though he's scoring just performance bonuses as well. So it really depends on whether that player that you are pinning your hopes on gets goals, assists, performance bonus, all those three in a week or back-to-back weeks. Then you're trying to get 0.1 million in price rise. Otherwise, it's and with the performance Philogene-Bidace, the stats that Joel just read it out about earlier in the show, Philogene-Bidace is much more inclined to get a price rise and move away from the threshold of budget buster than any other player right now. So just keep an eye on him and make your plans accordingly.
Cool. That's all the questions, right? I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So plans for game week 20 then. I can't believe we're at game week 20 already. It's flown by. Nearly halfway through the season. David, your team is on the screen. What are your early thoughts?
So I have 2, 3 free transfers. There we go.
Fee. How much fee?
2 transfers. Yeah. So yeah, I talked about it a bit earlier, but I'm probably selling. Yeah, let's be real. Mavididi. Unfortunately, I like that player, but it's not. He's like too expensive to keep. If I want to get Armstrong, so yeah, I think I'm going to go Mavididi to Philo and Vardy to Armstrong.
Plymouth at home and you want to sell Mavididi?
I'm not sure. It's like what's more important, that game or having Armstrong? But we also talked about their fixtures being better afterwards, so maybe it's not that clear cut. But I have to do something. I feel like I might make the mistake again of like thinking I have to do something with 2 free transfers, like I did in FPL. But
I'm all for selling Mavididi because he already owned KDH. If he hasn't owned KDH, then I would have
Yeah, I do.
I don't think
vetoed it.
that's. I still don't think that's relevant. The fact that he owns
Oh,
KDH has
No,
no bearing on whether
look,
Mavididi is a good asset or not. So I don't. That's
no,
not a
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
it
it's kind of
is. It
isolated, I
is.
guess.
Let's
Yeah.
look. Let's be clear. KDH is a far better asset than Mavididi.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it doesn't make Mavadidi worse.
That doesn't
That's
mean
true.
that you
Yeah,
should
I'm not
sell
saying
Dewsbury
that,
Hall, sell
but
Mavididi because he
in
owns Dewsbury
terms,
Hall. It's not.
I could sell a
I mean,
defender
in
instead.
terms of,
That's true.
if you're looking at from the fixtures point of view, if you're looking at playing Plymouth, if you're rounding up on that point, who you rather sell first? If you own KDH and Mavididi, you are selling Mavididi.
But let's say I don't have to sell any of them. I can just sell. How, for example, how is Da Silva doing? I remember last time we were talking about he's doing well. We can
He's a
get him.
sell.
So I got him. He's a sell.
He's not.
Okay.
He's now not nailed. Bidwell is.
Oh, really?
Starting games.
There you go. And he's 5.6. So yeah,
Yeah,
I can get a
the
budget
problem is,
buster defender for him
yeah,
and
the
then just
problem
get
is
Armstrong.
not only it's a bigger fire in terms of money, because Armstrong isn't cheap. He's upwards
No.
of 11 million, I think 11.2 million, I guess, probably.
Yeah.
So
Funny
you
thing is
need
like
the money.
yeah. Funny
You
thing is
need
like
the money.
I got like roasted. My team got roasted before the season because I had like an FPL defense, like super cheap, and now my defense is too expensive, like 5.2, 6.0, 5.6, 5.6, 4.5.
I was really
But
worried at the
I
start
still
of the
don't.
season about not having like 3 or 4 big defenders like everyone else, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, but I caved. But I don't have Walker Peters or Ricardo, so it's
Yeah,
just
I
like
think
meh,
that's
but expensive. Not good.
I mean,
Okay,
uh,
that's my priority. I've decided.
yeah, I mean, the likes of Ampadu and Da Silva can go now for KWP and Ricardo.
I don't
So
like taking
that
players that I just
should
bought,
be
but
your
I was
team.
talking about
Yeah,
Melody that, so it doesn't make sense. Yeah, the Silva is the priority for me. So yeah, thanks guys. Now I have a plan.
when are you budget bustering, David?
I've become the guy that just follows the crowd now, but it looks good in 22. So
You have to go down then probably to a budget defender, I'm guessing.
yeah, I think so. And I have Rowe who's back, so that's good.
I mean, better settle your attacking players first. Better settle your team before you go move on to your budget buster planning.
Yeah,
Because
you can't just look at that. If your team is like in
yeah,
a not ideal state, even though you can, I can just sort out the budget buster and get the. You have to still think about weeks coming up, and
yeah.
So yeah, that's enough for me. Let's move on.
I'll move on to Abhishek next, I think. There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm possibly I'm going to do a budget player because I'm pretty much settled with my squad. I don't want to change anything. I think I have Rutter, Armstrong, Somerville. Maybe it might be it's time to sell Sarah because Rowe is back, so I fulfill my Norwich asset along with budget buster as well because I think Rowe will be playing. It's the defense that I'm pretty much worried about because two of my budget players have not yet started the last 2 to 3 games, and that's going to be a real issue because those are my budget buster players. If those two players doesn't start, then I don't have any budget players. And then I'm down to 2 players from 4 players. So it will be an interesting decision right now because the budget goalkeeper that I had, Alan Wick, he's also dropped now. So literally, I have only Broadhead. So if
You'll
I'm
have to
planning
play.
for
Oh, Johansson's not budget, is he? Oh no!
Yeah.
Is he? No.
Oh
so
no!
literally,
Are you serious?
if I'm trying to play budget buster 22, I have only one player. So from the next 2 to 3 days, what I really want is to focus on whatever players that are
Oh
really
no.
going to start now, because I said that my team is not. Slowly moving away from budget buster. Slowly moving away from budget buster. So I might play Jeeper Keepers in Gaming 22 if I don't find a way, because I don't want to take it minus 16, minus 20 hit, even though minus 12 hit gets you, but minus 20 is
No.
too far of a hit
Yeah.
to take. So
But
yeah,
we have to clarify then, because we like said into the question earlier that Johansson is good, but he's not.
We were talking about cheaper
This
keepers,
one-
though, weren't we, David? Rather than budget buster
yeah,
in that.
we're talking about
yeah,
cheaper
but not for
keepers.
Budget Buster anyway.
Yeah, so what I really want is really have to look forward to at least have these two defenders that are on my bench, budget defenders to start with. So yeah, plan will be towards that only. Apart from that, pretty much settled. Captaining Ruta this week, vice captaining Armstrong as Watford. Although both of those players are facing away opponents, are away, but the kind of form Leeds and Southampton are in, I'm expecting goals from both of them. And yeah, apart from that, it's a traditional 3-5-2. Johansson in goal, Walker Peters, Davies, and Mumba are my three defenders. Might bench Mumba and start somebody else, but who knows? Will be dependent on whichever player I bring in. My five midfield players: Somerville, Philogene, Smodic, Sara, and Clark. Probably it will be until game week 22, unless something disastrous happen or injuries happen. So yeah, I'm pretty much happy with my squad. Probably slowly moving away from budget buster. It's not good, not looking good. It's not looking good.
Yes. Makes sense. Cool. My
Mm.
team is up now. I am going to do Miyoshi back to Dewsbury Hall. And then I may or may not take an additional hit. I mean, the team is okay without the hit. It would be Cladkey, Sanderson, Key, Walker Peters, Dewsbury Hall, Somerville, Philogene, Smodix, Clark, Broadhead, Chaplin, with a Whittaker on the bench and Huggins and Kakai. So I don't love having Key because he got benched and isn't nailed. I'd probably have to bring in... Basically, if I was to take a hit, it would be either Whittaker to Armstrong or Rutter, or it would be a defensive transfer, maybe like Huggins or Sanderson to Leicester defender, maybe. I will debate whether to take a hit up until the deadline and see. And then, like obviously budget buster, I don't feel like it's ruined my team too much, because I look at that and it is strong apart from those 2 or 3 positions that I'm going to sort out imminently. So yeah, I think it's okay. It's looking okay moving forward. Captaincy will be on probably Dewsbury Hall and vice Philogene, I think. So yeah, that's me, and hopefully can bounce back. And maybe whilst everyone else is moving towards budget buster, I can recover a bit of ground as everyone weakens their team a little bit, and I strengthen my team back. Fingers crossed.
That's good.
We'll see. Cool, that is it. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. And yeah, do like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I
Can just give a
think
shout out to a guy that just started listening. Told about him, but yeah, Norwegian guy started playing Gaffr now just to try it before the next season. Tobias, nice to see you. Hope
Hello.
and hope you're enjoying the pod, because I know he just listened to the one that all 3 are in. So I hope he's seeing this.
yeah, I think and I think probably next week we need to have a look at our leagues as well, where we haven't been
Yeah,
providing
good point. That's a long
a
time
lot
ago.
quite a long time. So probably next week you will get an update where what position any changes happened. A lot of changes happened since we last gave you an update. So we'll give you an update on the next week, next podcast, next episode of our podcast. So yeah, I think from that everything is covered.
Brilliant. All right. Well, take care, everyone. Have a good week, and yeah, we will see you when we next record. So it's goodbye from me.
Ha det bra.
Namaste from me.